is the Clone High revival worth watching? And well, today I'm going to be giving you my review on the Clone High revival season 1 and what I thought of it. So if you're new here and you like what you see so far, you know what to do. We're going to dive right into this review. And I gotta say, this Clone High revival is interesting. It definitely does pick up with what happened in the original series with all the clones being frozen and now being unfrozen into the year of 2023. So you definitely expect a lot of social commentary, cancel culture, accepting your friends, relationship issues, social media, things like that. This show definitely tackles it. Now, would I say that some of the things that they talk about are tackled in the best way? No. I think that there are some things like the cancel culture episode, a few other episodes that kind of were like, okay, I see what you were trying to do, but maybe could have been executed a little bit differently. But I don't say that that would take away too much from, checking out the show. Obviously, we have the OG characters like Abe, Joan, JFK, Cleopatra, but there are some new characters which technically they're not new characters, they're just new clones of OG characters that we've seen as background characters. You got your likes of Harriet Tubman, you got Frida, you got Confucius. So those new characters, as well as a few more, they kind of give it a little more of a different dynamic with the show, which this show does have a little bit of a different dynamic. At times, there are times where it does kind of feel like the OG show, but it definitely does feel like its own thing, which I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, I will say I do have some concerns with this show. For example, I do feel like there are some characters who were pretty major to the story in the original Clone High that don't feel as important in this reboot. For example, Cleopatra. Cleopatra, to me and to a lot of people, felt like she was a major minor character in the original series. In this one, she kind of feels very sidelined. She feels like a side character. You don't really see much of her. Obviously, in the later episodes, you see a little bit more of her, but she doesn't have a prominent role like she did in the original series. Wish they would have given her a little bit more. I would have liked to have known what happened to her. Did she make new friends? What was it like for her coming back as a clone? I do wish they would have kind of pushed more into her story a little bit more. Another thing is Abe. I do feel like there's some things that they did with Abe in this series that I kind of felt bad for him. Like, I felt bad for him. There's one episode where basically Harriet and JFK are starting to have feelings for each other. They actually get pretty romantic at one point, and Abe basically has to keep this secret from Joan, even though he promised Joan to tell her basically anything, that's happened between JFK, between her, tell her. So this, he knew about, JFK and Harriet having a romantic kind of thing going on, but he didn't want to tell Joan because he didn't want to hurt her. She eventually found out, but instead of Joan being upset with JFK and Harriet, she was more upset with Abe. And there was a point where I was like, man, that's really cold of you to do that. There's a point where she's like, you're not my friend anymore. I don't want to be friends with you. And the look on Abe's face after that, I really felt bad for him. And I know Abe, obviously, he's played as this kind of oblivious, he's not really on the spot when it comes to things. And I get that, that's kind of a cliche thing in teenage dramas. But I do wish the writing-wise, I do wish they would have made Abe a little bit more aware, a little bit more smarter. Which I think towards the end, he does get a little bit more aware, but I do want to see more of that moving forward. But as well as the new characters, we also get some stories with some of the OG characters like Scudworth. We get to learn a little bit more about Scudworth. We get to learn a little bit more about Mr. B and new characters and the comedy. I gotta say, some of the comedy, it landed and some of it didn't. I think something about the original Clone High series is that most of the jokes, they really hit you. In this one, I felt like they were trying to make too many modern cultural references, which that's not a problem, but I do feel like it kind of took away from the recipe of what Clone High is, in my opinion. And I know I'm talking a lot of criticisms and concerns, but there are some things that I do really enjoy. I do like the intros. They do different intros in this. I think that's really clever. You know, the new characters we have, Harriet, Confucius, Frida, all of them, they have their own personalities. You know, Confucius, he's kind of this rich, really chill guy that you kind of want to be friends with, you want to hang out with. Harriet, she's more of an energetic, all about her education, you know, a decent friend, you know what I mean? And then you have Frida. Frida is just really chill. They dive into different relationships. The thing about Joan as well, it's kind of ironic because Joan is kind of like the popular kid in the first episode. You know, Joan in the original series, she was very outlandish. She was very kind of, you know, on her own, doing her own thing. But in this, you know, she's making friends. She's having a relationship with JFK. Towards the end, it kind of goes full circle, you kind of say in a way. What is the initial answer to this? Is the Clone High revival worth watching? Is this something that I should check out? Is this something that I should rush to get Max for? And I would say yes. Even though I do have some complaints and some concerns with this show, I do think that this was a good show overall. I think it was solid. I think there's a lot to look forward to. And if you're a fan of Clone High, there is something there. There is that recipe of the OG show in this. But this show doesn't make you afraid to want to explore new avenues. And I think this show does that really well when it comes to that. So again, I'm looking forward to Season 2 and Season 3 of the Clone High Revival. So what is my rating? I'll give this at 8.5 out of 10. Again, I thought this was a solid season. I have some concerns, but they definitely can work on that in the next seasons. So let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of the Clone High Revival Season 1? Will you be checking out Season 2? And what characters would you like to see in Season 2? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. It really does help out the channel. Big love to you all, and peace out.